What is up, everyone? We are back with another edition of the Daily Crypto Byte. Today is Tuesday, June 29th. And CJ, we're seeing some exciting price action. I'm feeling good today. How are you feeling, my friend?
Yeah, it's nice to wake up to some green. It's been a while, it feels like, but massive daily candle, always good to see. We are approaching some TD cell nines on the 1 hour time frame, so it'll be interesting to see if price kind of comes down from that. It wouldn't surprise me if, say, shorter term traders decided to take a little bit of profit, waking up to such price action that's up double digits virtually across the board. But still, for the overall trend, I think breaking 36K is a very important step. In terms of the daily and weekly chart, we still got pretty heavy resistance all the way up to 38K. But let the battle between the bears and the bulls over that critical resistance begin, because they're fired up this morning.
Yeah, CJ, the bulls are out in full force today. That's pretty clear. I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin chart real quick. And here's what we're seeing on the daily chart. A nice, like you said, very positive price action with this bullish candle here. And one thing, like you pointed out, is, we got above that 36K resistance level, which has historically been a very critical level for Bitcoin. We've seen a lot of sell pressure at that level. We're sitting above it now. So do you think that, this means that next stop is maybe 38 or 42K? What are you seeing in the cards for the rest of this week, perhaps?
I think might have a little bit of profit taking later today, but I think that the momentum and kind of the sentiment around Bitcoin is starting to shift, in the sense that we were rallying even yesterday. We were bid into that news with Binance being banned in the UK. So even despite that negative price action, the market was still very resilient. So I think that does bode well for the rest of the week. But when you look at the volume profile, or the volume at price indicator, the most volume occurred, and essentially this equates to resistance now. The most volume occurred in that channel from 36 to 38K. So, that's something that everybody feels, everybody thinks it's a tough psychological level. But we're going to have to see. It's unusual. Sometimes Bitcoin will cut through resistance like a hot knife through butter, and other times it gets very sternly rejected. So that's going to be an interesting battle, and we've got a front row seat.
Yep. And not surprisingly, CJ, we're seeing some positive price action in ETH this morning as well. ETH smashed through some critical resistance that I was pointing out in chat yesterday. If you look here at this ETH chart and you look all the way back here to the beginning of April, we established this critical level right here at about 2150. This level was strong resistance on the way up. As you can see here, we kind of stammered at this level despite having pretty strong volume. And it wasn't until we got that massive uptick of retail capital that we were able to break above this level. Subsequently, we went and retested it as support as well multiple times before running up to our all-time highs. So now we're lingering right around this level, where this level was critical earlier in the year. And I think it's very encouraging that we are currently sitting above this level. I'd love to see us break above this next critical level right here at about 2350. And I think that bodes very well for ETH over the next couple of days. I'd be very surprised if this thing did break above the most critical level we have going forward, which is about 2800, which is a level we've been rejected at several times over the last month. But that's a big move up from 26 to 28. And if that happens for ETH, I think it would carry a lot of altcoins with it. We were talking before the show started, CJ, about how, we just feel, looking at the charts, looking at the technicals, there is some tremendous opportunity across the board as a lot of assets are bouncing back this week. And I think, Bitcoin's obviously leading the charge, but ETH is following right behind it. And given the price points I'm seeing in terms of critical resistance levels, I do think that this could run up to 2800 by the end of the week, before getting rejected and heading back down, possibly to the range we're in right now. But in that week where we're running up that high, it's going to carry a lot of altcoins with it. Yesterday, CJ, we talked about Comp, we talked about CeeLo. Both of those have performed tremendously well. And a lot of that has to do with the positive price action we've been seeing from ETH. So this week, we've been sitting on our hands waiting. The last couple of weeks, we haven't really been picking a lot of Doges of the day. But I think now that we're seeing this positive price action, we're seeing a potentially bullish week. I think the Doges of the day are going to be some of the most profitable plays.
Yeah, it's nice to see it turn down in Bitcoin dominance. You know, that really shows us that people are willing to speculate in the alts. People are willing to throw a little bit of cash at things like CeeLo, Aave, some others like that. In terms of resistance, you know, I talked about 36 to 38 being that critical volume profile resistance for Bitcoin. Ultimately, the equivalent for Ethereum is roughly 23 to 2400. So if we get, you know, through those levels very easily, I think 2800 is definitely in the cards by the end of the week, if we get that bullish continuation. And I think you're absolutely right. That's going to, I mean, if that occurs, I think it's almost, I'm not going to say guarantee, but a very high likelihood that a lot of those alts similar to it are going to rally very, very heavily. One thing that was interesting that kind of I typically see when retail capital enters the space is like Ethereum Classic rallying a
Yeah.
lot. I think it was up like 25 to 30% over the course of maybe yesterday or today. But that was one of that Doge. Those were some of the first alts to really rally at the start when Bitcoin was going up at like, you know, 20 to 40K. But I
Yeah,
digress.
that's a great point, CJ. One thing to always look for, you know, first, like you said, is Bitcoin dominance steering down, but second is retail capital flowing into very low cap altcoins. So that's for me typically indicative of, you know, some more retail confidence, and perhaps even the fact that we're entering into a more risk on trading environment. So I agree. You know, we saw some big moves in, like you said, Doge and Sheeb, and even in some more fundamentally based projects like Stormex had a great move over the last 24 hours, very low cap asset. And I think that you can thank some more confidence among retail speculators for that increase in price.
I mean, the S&P is at new all-time highs. NASDAQ, I mean, essentially at all-time highs. I think it's safe to say we are very risk on right now.
That's what I like to hear, CJ. That is what I like to hear. So let's quit beating around the bush. Let's get to it. Let's give the people what they want. Let's give them our Doges of the day. How about you start us off, my friend? I know you have a pretty interesting pick. I like your pick today, so share it with us. Tell us what you got.
Yeah. So regardless of the underlying asset, the trends that I've been looking for, and Monty and I think we're both kind of looking for this structure, is that many of the altcoins have fallen far below that 20 smoothed moving average, the 20 SMMA. And a lot of them have also bottomed on TD by nines on the 1 day timeframes. And so when you start to see a jump from that bottom with a little bit of volume coming in, it typically means that that moving average is going to act as kind of like a magnet, honestly, towards price. And that's kind of what we saw with Stormax and Aave and even CeeLo last week. A lot of those assets were very depressed, and they, you know, the moving average acted ultimately like a magnet for price. And so with Neo, the one that I'm selecting today, there are a couple assets, you know, with this similar technical formation, but I think Neo is a very prime example of one of those. And that's kind of what I was looking for in the previous Doges of the day, like I mentioned with Stormax and some of those others. So, you know, judging from the technicals, I have these little boxes highlighted above price. Really not a whole lot of resistance until we get to kind of that pinkish, purplish channel that I've highlighted. Then if we can get into there, I think it's pretty safe to say that the ultimate target for this move would be that 20 smooth moving average at roughly 49 bucks. So that's been kind of my approach. And yeah, that's Neo's going to be my Doge of the day.
Nice, CJ. Yeah, like I said, I like that pick. And in your kind of lead up to explaining that pick, you did have a lot of the rationalization of why I have been choosing my Doge of the day lately. And like you said, that divergence from the moving averages is critical for me. But one other thing that I think is also important is to kind of look at where the asset you're looking at is priced relative to the moving average in comparison with an asset like ETH. ETH really leads the charge for a lot of these altcoins. So I first want to pull up the ETH chart and just show you guys where it is at relative to the 200 period moving average. This was something I was talking about a lot while we were up here. You know, CJ said it acts like a magnet. We saw exactly that. Came back down, bounced off this level. a lot of assets didn't bounce off this level. A lot of assets are still significantly showing a negative divergence from their 200 period moving average. So for me, whenever you see that sort of discrepancy in technicals amongst altcoins, especially when you have ETH kind of leading the way, that means there's an opportunity in this market. So the one I am looking at today is DOT. And it fits with that thesis exactly what I was talking about. CJ mentioned also that a lot of these assets hit TD sequential buy nines. DOT was one of them. One thing that, I think is also somewhat encouraging is the fact that we've seen this 3 consecutive days of positive price action with somewhat lackluster volume. This is a relatively, high cap altcoin, especially compared to the ones we were just talking about, like Doge, or not Doge, but, Stormax. Yeah. But like Stormax and even Shiba Inu still. But I think that just a small amount of volume, a small increase in the volume that DOT is seeing could lead to a tremendous increase in price. CJ was talking a couple days ago when he was mentioning CELO, how, just a small amount of volume could act as a powder keg for positive price action because of the significant negative divergence from the moving average. And that's exactly what I'm seeing right now in DOT. We got that TD buy 9. We're seeing, some relatively positive price action. But I think once the volume steps in, once those retail traders move a bit more upstream, this thing's going to skyrocket up to that moving average and might even break above it before consolidating back around it. But look for these. There's opportunities across the board. DOT is not the only one. NEO is not the only one either. There are tons of opportunities like this. So we will be watching out for those all week. But I will be entering a DOT trade as soon as I'm done recording this episode. And yeah, that is my Doge of the day today.
And don't forget, if you buy DOT on Voyager, you can earn 8% interest just by holding the minimum monthly balance, which is not too much. I forget the exact dollar amount, but either way, we'd like to thank Voyager as the sponsor of this show. Amazing interest on that platform, commission-free trading. And if you sign up using the promo code REBEL25, they will give you $25 free in Bitcoin when you fund the account with over $100. So thank you to Voyager for that. And if you'd also like to hear more about our technical analysis and some of our calls, you can sign up and try our crypto trading room in the link below for just $1 in the first month. So thank you for that. We appreciate it, guys. But Monty, anything you'd like to leave us with here today?
Yeah, one last thing. I know Dr. Doge wasn't here today, but some of you may have saw on his Twitter. So we hang out in the crypto room all the time. We see all the suggestions and improvements you guys are, putting forward, and we really appreciate it. Over the last couple of months, we've been taking all those into consideration. We've been working really hard, and we are proud to say that we have a revamped version of the platform coming soon. We don't want to give an exact date yet because development is just getting started, but we're hoping, within a 1 to 2 month time frame, we'll have a completely revamped platform with lots of awesome new tools and just improved usability for you guys. But one thing that John mentioned today on Twitter is that the price will be increasing when we do roll out those improvements, but you still can lock in the current prices. You can check those out at markrebellion.com/trycrypto. The annual rate is currently $199 per year. It's going up to $299 per year. So if you haven't locked in that rate yet, you might want to lock it in before those improvements roll out. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, bringing you some more Doges of the day. So thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you again soon.